Hello, welcome back. This is for Vermont, okay? Sex offenders in y'all state, okay? Flash sex offender, now homeless in Vermont. He's registered, but he's unsupervised. They gotta be supervised, okay? This how he looks. He looks to be my dad, y'all. When I was Casey Anthony. Yeah, that's him. So basically, on July the 13th, the Burlington Police Department received word from 42-year-old Florida man that he planned to make the Queen City his home. Joshua Baker, originally from Burlington, notified the police that he intended to return and planning to be homeless. They can't be homeless. But Baker was coming back to the state with a criminal record that includes 4 convictions for sex offenses. 2 of them counts for lewd and lascivious molestation of a child, and no reported history of completing treatment as a sex offender. Encompassing with sex offender mandates, Baker, who had brown hair, blue eyes, and is 5 feet 10 inches tall, reported his move to the Vermont Sex Offender Registry. Beyond that, Baker is free to live unsupervised and unsheltered in the Burlington community. I still don't agree with that. Vermont has laws in places that allow for lifetime sentences. What that means is even when sex offenders are released from prison, they remain under supervision for the rest of their lives. Exactly. However, Baker's arrival in Burlington illustrates a loophole in Vermont's more recent sex offender laws. Because of the jurisdiction of his crimes, one of which was sentenced after the lifetime sentencing law was put in place. Baker is not subject to the laws that require corrections to stay in contact with sex offenders. But they do though. Prisoners like Baker, who are part of a marginalized population such as sex offenders, may move to the state after serving time with zero safety net or oversight. Complete records weren't available by press time, but from his summons and appearances recorded in the Lake County Courthouse in Florida, it appears Baker often missed court dates, failed to provide valid or new addresses, violated parole, and swung between not guilty pleas and a mixture of guilt for each charge. Baker, who turned 42 last month, I ain't gonna tell you where he used to live because I can't. In June 2004, he was convicted on 2 counts for lewd and lascivious molestation of a child under 12 in Florida, and he was also convicted on 2 counts of lewd or lascivious exposition, which means touching himself or exposing his genitals or doing so for a video camera without engaging in a physical act before a victim under the age of 16. He was sentenced to 4 years, 6 months in prison for the first crime, but was not sentenced for the latter crime, and was released early in 2008, according to Florida records. In March that year, he was arrested in Vermont on what the Lake County court documents say was a parole violation. He was held in Vermont for more than a year following that, records showed, even though he had signed extradition papers and was transferred back to Florida by July 2009. On arrival, he was sentenced for the 2 counts of exhibition to a minor under the age of 16, a crime that happened back on November 2, 2003. The same year, he was charged with molesting a child. He faced a 2-year, 3-month sentence for the exhibition, but with the time served in Vermont, he only stayed in the Florida prison system for another 11 months. 5 months later, he broke the law again by failing to register on the Florida State Sex Offender Registry. He was handed a sentence of 2 years, 8 months, and was released a year and 11 months later. He's been free since February 2013, having maxed out or completed his sentences there, according to Florida's Department of Corrections system. Baker has several tattoos, including a massive colorful cross on the back of his neck and the name Sherry, Sherri, on the side of his neck. On his right arm is the cartoon skunk, PP, Lee Poo, and a heart. Risk of release. Vermont had categorized Baker as a Category 3 rated offender. That's still bad. 3 is bad, okay? It's not the worst, but it's bad now. It's up there. Rated offender, and the state registry marks him as a violent sexual predator. A spokesman said that means he is at high risk of repeating the offense. Yes, has a high potential violent level, and is a threat to public safety. These are all closed charges, and he is not currently connected to the VT doc for supervision. Chris Goldstein, a spokesperson for the Department of Corrections, said via email. Calls asking for more details were not returned. Although a state law 2006 allows for a lifetime supervision of high-risk offenders who, yeah, he is a, you a 5, okay? You a 4, whatever. Okay, I think he a 5. I think he up there too. Okay, but they gonna label him a 3. Okay. Although a state law 2006 allows for lifetime supervision of high-risk offenders, it cannot be retroactive to already sentenced criminals. True. Likewise, the supervision of high-risk offenders doesn't apply to anyone who has been processed in a different jurisdiction, no matter what the crime. True. One around, okay? Rita Markley, Escort Director of the Committee for Temporary Shelter, COTS, said it's the biggest issue for her with respect to offenders like Baker and Richard Lyles, who were sentenced for the violent rape of a woman in central Vermont and were released in April, were losing track of their location. It's in no one's interest to have people who are sex offenders complete their terms in prison and then released without any sorts of housing options, she said. They are running around homeless and don't have a problem or a fixed address. It's impossible to monitor how they are doing, who, and it sets up to me an even greater risk because they are sort of dropped off from any connection to people who might be able to flag if anything is wrong. She said when sex offenders don't have a place to call home, the public is at greater risk. Exactly what I was saying about them being homeless. On the other hand, people don't want sex offenders to be anywhere near them, but on the other hand, it's a much greater risk to have them out there on the streets running around, Markley said. Who? They should just stay in jail, like, period, the fuck. No new articles appeared on Baker's move to Vermont aside from reports on his initial notification to the state. It was a stark contrast to the press melee around untreated sex offender Richard Lyles, who maxed out his 23-year sentence in April before notifying the registry he was going to be homeless in Bulletin. Yeah, they the most protected, okay? Rapists are the most protected in the United States, America. No fewer than 35 news articles appeared over the ensuing months, and they included interviews with victims and Lyles himself. Lyles is also unmonitored because his sentence perceived to reach at the later register changes. Neither Baker nor Lyles, both considered high risk or subject to any kind of oversight. In the same vein, they are not required to participate in treatment programs. True. Community-based sex offender treatment is available to anyone who seeks it, said Goldstein from Corrections. If the offender is under supervision, DOC will make a referral to the local provider. Goldstein said that they supply a list of referrals to anyone who had inquired. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay. But yeah, hold on. Comprehensive as a sex offender. Baker must report his whereabouts to the state registry every single day, officials said. Who? Sears said the registry is considered a first line of defense for lawmakers. Okay, so yes, enjoy.